Welcome to the Books, Beards, Booze podcast, where we talk books, drink booze, and have beards.
All right. As always, I am Bob of Tales by Bob.
I'm the Ask the Podcast, Derek.
I am creative consultant Tanya.
Although, in my defense, I don't think I'm going to be the ass of this podcast.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not. I feel like
I'm the ass of the podcast, Tanya.
So we are doing our review of Ready Player One. So I'm just going to give a quick little rundown on it. If you haven't read the book, don't listen to this fucking podcast.
Just don't.
Go.
Whoa. No, it's perfectly fine to listen to this podcast.
There's going to be spoilers.
We'll explain.
There's going to be spoilers. There's going to be tons of spoilers.
Yeah.
Correction. Listen to this podcast if you have read the book or don't intend to read the book.
Or just
if you
want
want
the
to
correct
read the
opinions
book,
about the
you're
book.
probably not going to want to listen
Well,
to
here's
this.
the thing. My thing, listen to this. Because I'm curious as to if you know what we think going into it, whether or not you see what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Or if we're just...
Yeah, but
wrong.
if you're bothered by spoilers and you're going to read it,
Yeah.
don't read this.
Yeah.
But all right, so Ready Player One came out in 2011, science fiction novel. It's a debut novel of Ernest Cline. The story, set in a dystopia in 2044, follows protagonist Wade Watts on his search for an Easter egg in a worldwide virtual reality game, the discovery of which will lead him to inherit the game creator's fortune. So Cline sold the rights to publish the novel in June of 2010 in a bidding war. Lucky fuck. The book was published August 16th of 2011, and the audiobook was released the same day, and it was narrated by Will Wheaton.
That's how I listened to it, was through the
Will
audiobook.
Wheaton.
That's the way I first heard
He
of
was
it
actually
was-
mentioned in the book. Will Wheaton was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The film adaptation, which was written by Cline and Zach Penn and directed by Steven Spielberg, was released on March 29th of 2018. So we have read the book, and me and Tanya have unfortunately finished the movie. Derek couldn't even finish the movie.
Yikes, y'all.
So let's...
Oof.
Whew. All right, so let's give our initial thoughts on the book. All right,
Okay.
spoiler, the movie's real trash. The book.
I don't even...
Let's try to just talk about the book.
Just talk about the book. We'll talk about the movie at the end.
Okay.
Or just add kind of maybe
Yeah.
as we
All right.
go.
So the book, I was not this book's target market.
Same.
Is kind of how I feel about
Same.
Here's the thing. Okay, well...
it. Here's my reasoning why. If I was 5 years older, maybe 10 years older, I think I would have loved this book with the power of 1,000 suns. But as much as I love 80s music, give me some Phil Collins, I don't really like 80s culture that much. Like, a lot of this, like, I was born in the 80s, but I don't remember the 80s. And a lot of the stuff that's, like, so seminal to 80s babies, I just don't like or give a fuck about. And this book is a love song to the 80s. And I just don't love it like this guy does. So I appreciate the nerddom. I love the D&D references. But just so much 80s pop culture in this, I just didn't draw me, really. Like, I don't care about 80s. Like, if you, God, it just doesn't really interest me. And a lot of, like, I could see the references, but I didn't appreciate the references. I understood the references, but I didn't appreciate them.
Yeah.
And so, and the other thing was, I just kind of disagree. Like, well, that's my initial impression.
Okay.
Tanya.
I'm not a big enough nerd for this book. That's just a full stop sentence. Like, I am on the fringes of nerd culture. I am vaguely aware of a lot of things. In no way. Like, you weren't the target audience because you're not old enough to really appreciate it. I'm just not the target audience. Period.
Okay.
That's just it.
That's fair.
Period.
Derek, what you
Okay,
got?
so I can't really put my finger on it, but for some reason it comes off as incredibly fan fiction-y.
Yeah.
The idea is interesting, but generally built out on the most surface level way imaginable.
Yeah.
The story rides waves of nostalgia and pop culture to its success in a way that, at least to me, feels like it's pandering and disingenuous. The concept was interesting, if not the first of its kind I've heard or seen, but was ultimately hurt in my eyes by the way it attempted to be too much fan service than was bearable.
Yeah.
Which Klein says, he wrote this to be his love song to the 80s. Like he is James Halliday, basically. He has the love of the 80s that Halliday had for the 80s kind of deal. Maybe not quite to that degree, but pretty close.
Yeah.
But what you said, all right, so that's our initial thoughts.
Yeah.
We're diving in on problems first, right?
Right.
All right, so here, what you said there, it was very surface level.
Yeah.
Because I think if you really start to think about how the Oasis works, it just doesn't work. The movie kind of showed that. There's huge plot holes in the movie of well, how the fuck does the Oasis work? Here he's got to be running on a treadmill to do it, but this person is not on a treadmill and doesn't have a full body suit, but she's bouncing around on the couch.
In their defense, that was all movie. The movie treated it completely different. In the book, you didn't have to move at all.
But the book, I just don't. To me, it didn't feel real. The Oasis, cool concept, but to me, at just no point did I buy the Oasis as a concept. It was cool, it was neat, it was the whole point of the book. I could just never buy in on the Oasis. To me, the Oasis didn't feel believable. It was I've seen stuff like that, a lot of cyberpunk stuff that's
done
heavy
better
on the net. It's just done better. And this is, I just didn't buy it.
Right.
I could not get on board with the Oasis. And that was, honestly, that was probably the biggest problem. The whole time I'm reading it, it's just correction, that's the second biggest. The biggest problem, the absolute biggest problem that I just could not, I was like, this is fucking bullshit. Obviously, it's a fictional book, the whole thing's bullshit. But the whole arc where he gets himself arrested and go no, your entire plan is based on, I bought some stuff off the deep web and maybe it'll work, I have no idea. That's your fucking
Bob,
plan.
he was desperate at that point.
God, fuck off.
That was kind of fuck off.
Okay.
That was me the whole time.
So here's my thing, though. And that's actually a problem I had other places in the book, too. But I've decided it makes sense. And here's why it makes sense. Because the kid's stupid.
He is.
That's my thing. It's legitimately, that choice, it makes sense if you're dumb.
Yeah.
Because, all of his friends are that's why he didn't tell them. Because he was they would have talked him out of it or done something. Because they were that is a fucking insane idea.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
The thing about
literally
it is,
anything goes wrong. The whole thing's in the shit.
Yeah, I love heist stuff. Mm-hmm. And in every heist, they always have a moment where something goes wrong, and they have to adapt.
Right.
And
that's adapting in that situation.
There's you can't adapt out of that. Yeah. It's you are fucked.
Right. But there's other situations where a very similar thing happens where I was looking at it going, this is a failing of the author, and I was taking it that way, but then I decided maybe it's not. Maybe it's legitimately that the character's just not very he has an encyclopedic knowledge of the stuff that's important, but is not
all book smarts, no street smarts.
Well, he's got his logic. He's been raised on logic by bad 80s movies.
Yeah.
So he ain't got no common sense because what 80s movie do you think The Goonies? It's not rife with common sense. Yeah.
But no, I definitely see that. That was my least favorite part of the book.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I would cycle through. There are parts of this book that I really liked.
Right.
And then then it'd be a spell. The whole again talking about how stupid he is. I guess that's part of my problem. He was just so dumb. I just couldn't get behind him.
Let's not go into the things that we liked yet. Let's hold.
No. I'm saying he was so dumb. The whole thing, he has dedicated his entire life to being a gunter, which is a dumb name.
Yes.
He's going to be a gunter.
Why couldn't they be eggheads? That makes so much more sense.
That's actually worse. But no, he's devoted his entire life to this cause,
right?
And then he gets a girlfriend and just throws it all away, which makes sense because he's an idiot,
right?
But I hated that.
Which is fine,
yeah,
if that was intentional. But my thing is, I don't think I think honestly it was the author making mistakes, that the character wasn't dumb, but I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt.
No.
Yeah,
And that
well,
it
just
was- it was
that
the
whole
character.
arc of like, oh hey, like I've thrown away what I've devoted my entire life to because I've got an internet girlfriend now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh come on, it was painful to read.
But I've also been a kid, so I know that part of that's
Yeah,
believable.
no.
But,
Like it was believable,
but still painful.
but still painful.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, oh god. But yeah, like it's for every scene that I liked, there was like a scene that I hated more.
Okay, well, let me go with my things
Yeah.
I hate first.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it'll spark some more shit I hate.
Well, I'm concerned that Tanya's just gonna be like everything, and then
I mean, I don't. This book has no redeeming qualities.
Jeez.
Full
Well,
stop.
That's savage.
That's-
No, for me, this book has zero redeeming qualities. The protagonist was a piece of shit, unrelatable, dumb as fuck. I hate Wade Watts. Like,
Also, Wade Watts is a dumb name.
Well, you mean the story behind why he got that name? Makes
the
sense.
only character that I liked in this book was H.
Yeah, I liked H.
Literally everyone else could just go fuck off.
I liked H. I liked Daito and Shoto, but they were very minor comparatively
Yeah,
speaking.
like I
felt
hated
believable.
Wade Watts. His fucking character is so annoying, viscerally annoying, that I just hated everything about the book.
Tell us how you really feel.
Well, yeah, I've been sitting here quiet for a reason. Derek, go.
Okay, so my problems. This book had the same problem I have with some mystery books that I've read. The driving force of the story is solving this elaborate puzzle, like this grand mystery. But as the audience, we don't have any chance to solve it
Yeah.
because there's no way we can have the information that he has.
Yeah.
So I hate mysteries where I am not presented with the information
Where you
that the
can't figure it
sleuth
out
has.
yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a
at
very
practically every turn, the answer or clue or tip or reference that the main character used to solve the problem has not been foreshadowed whatsoever in
Yeah.
the story or even mentioned prior to
Yeah.
its.
the
Yeah.
only thing that was at all foreshadowed, and I hate it, was that fucking quarter.
Yeah, which was
I hate that quarter.
I was perfectly fine with it because they foreshadowed it. It was kind of it was what it
cheap.
was.
It was such a fucking cheap cop out MacGuffin.
This whole book is cheap.
Yeah, it is. But we can't. Let's see. Blah 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 blah.
Gross. Ugh.
Yeah, it just kind of made it feel like a series of solutions that came out of the blue without any build up.
and even some of them he didn't even solve.
Yeah.
Like it was like even some of the mystery he had to get fed to him. Which is like, oh damn.
And we can't see it coming unless we have the same insane fanatical fascination with such a broad swath of nerd culture from the past 40 years or so.
Dusty.
That it's just no. There's
Dusty
no way.
needs to read this book.
Doesn't matter. First of all, he can't read.
Well,
Second of all,
fair.
there's like I'm sorry, like legitimately, that's the thing that pissed me off about this book. Like one of the things, like
Yeah.
as much as you're saying this is a love letter to the '80s, literally no one can have the
That much 80s knowledge.
You just can't. Like at best, you're going to appreciate like 60% of this book when it
Yeah.
comes to the references and the deep dives and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
because you're either big into video games or you're big into like. In order to appreciate this book, you had to be huge, like tabletop nerd. You had to be a huge video game nerd. You had to be all about all the movies. You had to be all about all the fucking music. You also had to know about fucking what everything looked like in the 80s.
Oh.
Like there was
Yeah, I also call bullshit that Wade Watts knew how to play that Rush song. Remember, that's how he finds out that they need all three keys.
the chords.
It's because he actually plays the guitar and plays like the little extra bit, and that's how so he also took the time to learn how to play the guitar
All the
well
Rush-
enough to play all Rush
Which-
songs.
yeah, the entire
Come on.
catalog.
Which
Yeah.
brings me to my second point of things that I hated the most.
Gross.
The absurdity of the wealth of knowledge Wade has.
Yes.
I didn't do the math, although I had planned to, but I would be absolutely shocked if you counted up all the things he claimed to have memorized or watched dozens of times, and there was any kind of consistency or believability to it all. there's simply not enough time for him to have been smart enough to figure out the obscene references and done all the research that he claims to have done
Yeah.
since he became a Gunter like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And to
no
beat out an entire
way.
fucking team of people.
Here's my
like you've got, I mean, just from a knowledge base alone, like if you have 10 nerds versus 1 nerd, the 10 nerds win.
Well, I mean, that's why that's why the Gunter clans to me made sense.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much knowledge. Like you just need, hey,
I'm a music expert.
You need
You're
to
the
go
games
focus on the
expert.
music. You need to focus on games, and then let's work together on this shit. You know,
Yeah.
It's
Well, the thing that pissed me off the most was just that they were how often he was like, yeah, I've seen all of this show
well enough to
10 times. I'm
If-
like,
if
that
he-
would have taken
everything that he came across, he had basically played it to where he memorized it, or had watched it to where he memorized. Like there's never a point that he came across like, well, man, I didn't memorize this
well, no,
movie.
there was parts where that happened. It was just
There
there
were
was
more,
someone
there were
always
more
there. to-
parts where it didn't, though. Like
Yeah.
he had multiple. Like I cannot do a single movie line for line,
Yeah.
and he did 2 movies in that
the
line
course
for
of the
line.
book?
Yeah,
Yeah.
over the course of the book, he did 2 movies exactly, word for word, line for line, perfect. Like even down to the seconds, you know, like
And inflection
Bruh.
and shit, yeah.
bruh, come on.
And finally, the dialogue is tough.
Gross. Yeah.
Real tough. I think a lot of what I mean about this feeling like it reads like a fan fiction comes from the fact that dialogue is so slightly off. The convenience of the plot points simply being solved out of the blue, and the heavy dose of nerd culture name drops. That's
Yeah.
probably what
That
I
was my
mean.
thing, is like, this is just a diarrhea of nerd culture name dropping.
Mm-hmm.
Word vomit. All of
all right,
this.
So, what did you like?
Would you
Wait,
like
you're
me
not
to-
going to let me finish talking about what I don't like?
Yeah.
You said you don't like any of it.
Yeah, but there's some things
Okay,
that I
all right,
don't
go ahead.
like more than
Specific-
Go ahead.
others.
Go ahead.
Go
I
ahead.
thought-
Lay it
yeah,
on
go
us.
ahead.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it really... Artemis.
Yeah.
Wade Watts is a shit. Fuck Wade Watts. But he's obsessed with this girl that he's never met, and she is his end game, his goal. She's never a person. And like even when he meets her, he's just like, okay, well, now we're a thing. She's like, well, no. But I don't know, it's just gross. Like she was just a prize. Everything for Wade Watts is a prize that he just gets.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. But
No, but like she's not a person.
she is a person.
Artemis
Like,
is
he does
Artemis
nothing
is
but-
not a character. She's not a person.
Like,
she's just a
No,
a prize.
Well, no, I completely disagree with
H
you on that.
H is more of a person
No,
than
she's
Artemis
not.
is. Yeah.
They're both.
H
all of
H
these-
actually has
all
a-
of these characters are incredibly surface level and have no like. It is not
Oh,
anything
yeah.
to do with Wade, whatever the fuck his name is,
Watts.
being a shit
Well, you know,
person.
I'm actually.
and thinking
I'm
about
gonna,
these
I'm
girls
gonna
as
agree
a
with Derek here. Like,
yeah, that's not.
none of these characters have depth. Like, I liked H.
H has more depth.
H
the whole
H doesn't have more depth than Artemis. H just has slightly more scene time, and
No, the whole like I'm you can't be a girl on the internet, so I've been a dude this whole time because it's safer. Cuz that's a thing
It
that
is.
I don't think maybe you two
Okay,
be
well,
dudes.
no, I know, I get, no,
Yeah,
I
but
get
no,
that,
yeah.
but. I don't know, Artemis had the whole subplot of she thinks that she's hideous, you know, like
Well, all
like
girls think we're hideous.
Well, but
Ugh.
they both had roughly equivalent subplots.
It's all garbage, honestly,
Look,
but-
none of these like
None of them were good.
none of them were good characters. I liked H more just because the scenes that I got with H, like I liked H's little room, but Artemis didn't have a cool little room that I cared for, more or less. Like so, like I liked H more than Artemis, but it wasn't for the reasons. Like
Yeah.
they're all surface level characters. None of them have.
It's all
especially
trash.
like Shaito and Daito and Shato.
Show-
Like
Shoto.
they're basically caricatures more than characters.
Yeah. It's all garbage. Are we trying to talk about anything that we like? I
Yeah.
have nothing.
I've got.
I've got some stuff. I got some stuff.
I have
I
nothing.
liked I really like the D&D references. All right, another little glitch there, but it'll be all right. I really liked any of the D&D scenes were cool. I also really liked the scene where they were playing. What was the game? The Tiger Axe or Black Axe or Golden Axe?
I think it was Black Axe.
Something like that. Which apparently that is Ernest Cline's favorite game.
Okay.
Is why that made it in there, because I had never heard of that fucking game. But I thought that was a cool scene. Like, I
that
like
the one
where it's a side scroller, but he goes into it and it's like it's not a side scroller. He's in the game. I thought that was cool. I liked that.
There's plenty of things that I enjoyed, but I acknowledge that I enjoy them despite, not because.
Yeah.
Almost.
Well, it's like I like some individual scenes, but the overall product is so flawed.
Yeah.
So like there's lots of cool scenes in there that's like, oh man, I enjoy this scene, but then it's just like, well, okay, now we're back to shit I don't like.
So here's what I like the most about it. It's like I was into it once we got into the meat of what the Oasis world was really about. Mostly the world building of how the economy and the net community of the Oasis existed, I found really fun because it reflected a lot of how the actual internet works.
Yeah.
I enjoyed any time a challenge was being tackled. Solving the mystery wasn't really fun for me, and it was boring because no one ever knew what was going to happen. It was just like, oh, surprise, here's the thing.
Yeah.
But when Wade was Parzival existing inside the Oasis, I enjoyed the shit out of it because I was like, let's see where we're going to go, because like there's all these different worlds. Let's see what we're going to go do this time.
I got to quickly just say, I'm also going to call utter bullshit on their net handles. The fact that he's Parzival and not Parzival 3372 or Parzival 1884.
Well, I mean, he got that name because the original spelling was taken already. He explained that.
So you had to put the Z in it.
No.
And that's why Artemis has a 3. That's enough for you to have a unique.
Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, my name on a lot of stuff is Ashmore. I like that name.
Yeah.
I think somebody would have taken it. No one took it, so I have it a lot of places. But it's not a famous literary reference.
Well, yeah, the thing like Artemis. Artemis.
Well, there was a 3 in there, man. It was leet speak, bro.
Come on.
Come on, man. Somebody has to get that name. Do you know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
I guess. All right. So here's my thing.
Artemis, Parzival makes a little bit more sense.
Individually,
I see what you're saying.
someone would have to. Yeah, someone's got to have that name.
But
all 5 of them have like just regular like H. Daito and Shoto.
There's no way Shoto and Daito would have got those names. No fucking way.
Well, I mean that's the thing. Is like they bought them. None of them have like Jimmy Bob 334. You know,
Pussy Slayer 69.
Yo, mom sucks dicks. Like,
yeah, like come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like my thing is like genuinely, I enjoyed the story when they were in the Oasis. Like when they were experiencing things and kind of showing like this is how it works.
Once he got off Ludus, once he got out of the school planet, like it was.
But then anything that happened in the real world, I didn't like. Anything that happened with them.
Can we just address stacks of mobile homes? How stupid of an idea that is.
Even like for 100 years in the future, for 60 years in the future, that's dumb.
There's no fucking way. All right, mobile homes don't last that long. They just don't. And, like, they're hard to move. You can only move them so many times before they just fucking fall apart. Stacking them up like that, the stresses, like, it's just not worth it, man. Just, like, fuck, you're stacking trailers on top of each other. It'd
be better to just build boxes.
Like, if because that's where we live, I have seen where people have put a trailer on top of a trailer. I've seen
deckers.
That. I've seen that. But stacks, we're talking like 20 and 30 high.
That bottom one's gonna be
trailers.
Crushed.
There's no hard no. That is so dumb.
Ernest Cline's never seen a trailer.
God,
probably not.
All right, so is that the ice cream truck?
I have cash.
No, too bad.
Oh my god, no! Why are we doing this episode about this book? I hate so bad when there's ice cream outside.
You go get some ice cream, and me and Bob will talk about the things we enjoyed since you didn't enjoy anything.
Ice cream.
If you go run,
go,
and we'll keep it going.
Go.
No.
Okay, all right.
Okay, well, I don't want to hear you hungry.
Right. So, what's your overall?
My overall, I thought it was enjoyable enough. but I think it was very seriously lacking in depth in practically every way. The writing really wasn't noteworthy. The plot was frustrating because I never felt like I had the information I needed to grasp fully what was happening in the story around me, because it relied so heavily on a well of expertise practically no one could have that only bothered to explain what was happening as the problem was being solved. And the characters were incredibly stock. That said, the idea was interesting and somewhat fun. Some of the references made me smile because I am a huge nerd, and there wasn't anything overly wrong with it other than it was just lacking in almost every way in execution.
Cool idea, piss poor execution.
Yeah, it was what it was. It was a very run-of-the-mill novel with an exciting mix of every nerd passion that exists being somewhat exploited for moderate at best return.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that. Basically, again, cool idea, executed poorly.
Yeah.
It's right there.
I hope y'all can hear. I hope y'all can hear.
Fucking ice cream.
I hope the microphone picked up the little music in the background.
My little ice cream.
So I have a question. Here's my question about the book. Does Parzival push the button? Does he ever push the button?
I think he does.
I think he does. And here's why. He's an idiot with an internet girlfriend that he's obsessed over.
Yes.
And they're going to actually hook up in the real world, and it's not going to go well because they're also real young.
And stupid.
And they're going to outgrow each other.
Yep.
They're going to break up. But because of who Wade watches as a person, he's going to be like, oh, well, you know what?
I know how to make you stay here. Boom.
Well, he's going to be like, oh, well, I think she'll like me if I have the guts to cut off the Oasis because it's what's wrong. Like there's so much wrong with it. I think he ends up a lovesick fool pushing the button as a way to try and impress Artemis, like probably in 3 years.
I think he does that, but as a way to keep her, because now that she's seen him in person, she realizes, God, he's terrible, and so he's like.
Which reminds me that we need to discuss that when we discuss the movie.
Okay.
But,
like he hits the button to keep her from
Eric,
leaving.
do you think he'll ever hit the button?
No, he's not going to hit the fucking button. The only thing he has in his life that's constant, because she's going to leave. You know what? Okay, fine. They work out forever and ever. Yay.
Yeah.
You still want the fucking Oasis. He now owns the Oasis. He has.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not going
Well, but
anywhere.
that's the thing. He could cash out the money and hit the button. Like,
Yeah,
he could still be a mega wealthy guy.
Yeah, she's going to break up with him, and literally all he'll have left is the Oasis. He's not destroying the Oasis. It's not happening. It's literally the only thing that makes him special.
I would like to hear from y'all. What do y'all think? Do y'all think Wade Watts will push the button eventually or not? Email us at booksbeardsbooze@gmail.com.
So, this movie.
Yeah, let's talk about the movie.
Somehow, this movie managed to take any of the things that I even vaguely enjoyed out of the book, bundled them all together, threw them to the side, set that trash can of vague goodness on fire, and left me with what the fuck steaming pile of garbage.
This movie was trash.
I have some reasons.
I mean,
why.
I figure that we don't get as much of like the name droppiness and the product placement because of money. I would imagine.
So
expense.
before they ever started trying to make this movie, Spielberg sat down and they started trying to acquire rights to use stuff. Mm-hmm. They got 80% of what they were looking for, is what they estimate. Good. They got roughly 80% of what they're looking for. They got enough. They're like, all right, so we can make this movie. Okay. So there's a whole Blade Runner arc in the book, right? Mm-hmm. Blade Runner, which is the best possible pairing of a movie with this movie, almost. Like Blade Runner is like, it's cyberpunk. This isn't cyberpunk, this book, but it's cyber. It's cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Well, it would be
young adult cyberpunk.
So what the fuck is this whole Shining? The whole arc with The Shining?
Yeah.
So get this. Blade Runner 2049 was coming out at the same time.
So they didn't want to use it?
Yeah. No, they couldn't. They couldn't use it. Yeah. They wouldn't release the rights because they didn't want it to interfere with what they had going on. So Spielberg is a Kubrick fan and was like, we'll do The Shining instead.
Because it's a Kubrick fan.
And as an homage to him. Also, a lot of the best stuff in the book was Spielberg. And Spielberg didn't want to put anything of his in
That would
the
have felt
movie,
weird for him.
in the movie because he didn't want people to think he was jerking himself off. He had to get taught.
So make a worse movie?
You do see the
Yeah.
T-Rex from Jurassic Park,
In that
but
opening.
they had to talk him into that. Like they
Mm-hmm.
talked him into that. So like yeah, so a lot of the cooler stuff wasn't in there because it was related to Spielberg in some way. He was the worst person to direct this movie, basically,
Well, like-
because he was so influential on the 80s.
Like, I also understand that there were so many aspects of the book that just would not work on screen. Like, watching someone word for word a movie, I don't know how you work that in where it's not just god awful fucking
No, I
painful.
know how you do it. It's pretty simple.
But, and then watching someone play Pac-Man for 16 fucking days until they get a perfect game, I didn't want to read it. I sure the fuck don't want to
Yeah.
watch it.
No, it's like
So, I mean, like, I understand those changes, but
The
to
changes
me,
they use were
to me,
shit.
the dumbest change of all was how they started it.
with that race,
That race? What the fuck was that?
driving backwards. Oh,
Yeah.
that's how we solved the first. Like, no one thought of that in fucking like.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ernest Cline has never met the modding community.
see, and that's one of the things that I liked vaguely about the book was that, you know, Parzival, he doesn't have money to spend, so he's kind of just stuck on this school planet. Everyone else got money, so they're off venturing, so he's kind of stuck. And it's like, oh, it just happens to be. And so he finds that he grinds this when no one else is noticing. I kind of liked that.
Because you earn it.
Because
Well-
he earned it, right? But then now it's just like, yeah, I go drive fast backwards. Wee.
Well, I didn't like how in the movie they made the change that if you ever die, you lose everything. Because that's not in the book. That's it. Like
No,
on certain places, yeah,
Oh, in PvP zones?
yeah, but
You
it wasn't
zero it
like
out.
it wasn't just everywhere. You know,
Yeah, but then they'd have to explain.
yeah,
And then because this book the movie did
They-
zero explanation
yeah.
of anything.
Oh, the ending was trash.
happens at
He's
the
he's
end?
fucking okay. Well, so
Ugh.
oh god,
Well, you know
we're
what?
not. We're not.
Okay.
we're not.
Okay, well,
We're not.
let's look at this. Is the here's the.
Well, I have a question based on the end that you all right. You didn't see it, but she did, and I'm just going to tell you. After it ends roughly the same way, he's got the everyone dies. He uses the quarter. He's back. He plays the game. He gets let in. It weirdly implies that Halliday has uploaded himself into the Oasis. Maybe, I don't know. Is Halliday God? There's a weird scene there where you think Halliday's back alive, and he's like, Halliday, are you alive? He's like, no, I'm something. He's like, I'm something else. Like, what? What are you? We're not going to get a sequel to this, so you tell
no,
us
what
what
they
the fuck you
are.
are.
Ready Player 2. That's
Well, no, we'll come to that in a second. But
God kill
All right,
me.
what?
Kill
we're,
me.
we're going to come to it in a second. All right, but so at the end, what they do is they cut the Oasis off every Tuesday and Thursday.
So they can cuddle. It's maintenance, server maintenance. I lived through World of Warcraft Tuesday server maintenance. That was the worst.
So that's what they do is every Tuesday and Thursday they cut off the Oasis.
So you have to. So they can go make out without.
Yeah, so you have to go enjoy the real world. That's what they do.
That's dumb.
It's dumb. It's very dumb. Because what that doesn't look at is how much of the economy is tied up in the Oasis.
Like all
Like,
of it.
if you're going to do it at least on Saturday, Sunday when it's the banks are closed.
do it on the Sabbath or something.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
oh God. So, but yeah, he is doing a Ready Player 2.
Oh god.
It's the same characters. It's in the Oasis, but it's not it's
Movie or book?
book.
Okay.
He's writing a book. You know they're going to make it.
They're
into a
gonna
movie.
make it a movie.
They made a fucking shit ton of money.
Did it
And it's-
seriously?
And it's
In the U.S. though, in domestic box office sales, it did not make its money back. It was international where it got.
I don't know. It made like 170 million in the U.S. Like it was.
But it didn't make back its budget.
The budget was was around there, but it made like 400
International.
It made,
International
like,
is where it made its money.
Okay.
yeah.
That's fair. I mean,
But it's got so get this Rotten Tomatoes 72%. Average rating of 6.9.
I don't know. I don't know how you watched this movie and thought it was good.
Yeah.
I don't know how you read this book and was like,
maybe
fuck yes,
well, honestly,
this book
honestly,
is the best.
honestly,
If you
didn't read the book, I could see where you would like the movie.
Or just a romp.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, just a romp. But like, I honestly think reading the book ruined the movie.
Yeah.
Because as bad as the book was,
The movie's worse.
the movie was
Infinitely worse.
like both are cool ideas. The book was a poor execution of a cool idea. The movie was a poor execution of a poor execution of a cool idea. That's why the movie is worse. Like,
copy of a copy of
yeah,
a copy.
but if you're just like, oh well, I don't know anything about anything and just watch it. Oh yeah, okay.
Cool special effects.
Yeah,
A lot of things that I know I
visually,
like.
visually, it was amazing.
I didn't like
that.
the people. It creeped me out.
So here's my thing.
Yeah.
that made
I thought,
me
but
so-
people apparently loved Wade Watts' acting.
Why couldn't he just be a person?
And I just-
Why couldn't
No,
we just
this-
have a people?
This is stupid. This is so stupid. And this is the thing. Like, I legitimately, the first time so I tried to watch this 3 different times. And I
Yeah.
had turned it off 3 different times.
Had he not been in the room and in control of the clicker, I wouldn't have finished it.
I when I first turned it on, I watched like the first 10 minutes and turned it off, and I was like, I'm not prepared for this right now. I gotta go to sleep. I can't
Yeah.
do this. And it was because, okay, look, slightly shitty acting, weird character, like weird
CGI.
casting.
Oh.
As soon as they go into the Oasis, why did their characters look like that? Like, there's no reason to change what was in the book.
Yeah, they were just people in the book.
Like, no, it's actually relevant to the story. In like, the whole point of this is that like Parzival and Artemis basically are just idealized version of themselves.
Yeah.
They look like themselves, but a little thinner, a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
She doesn't have her thing, but like
Weinstein.
otherwise they look exactly the same as themselves.
Yeah.
That was relevant to the story.
Yeah.
And then you go from that to this thing where there are these like little cartoon
Pixie
fucking
things?
Yeah. And it doesn't even, it's like, and part of the thing that really bothered me is when I first turned it off was like when he saw Artemis's
Weinstein.
avatar.
Oh.
No, just saw the avatar and was like, she's so hot. And like, there's no way you can find that attractive. There's no way.
It's pointy faces.
It's the hidden
Everything.
one at the Hidden Valley.
Hidden Valley. Like
Yeah.
you like, okay, some people might, but like if she had looked like
No,
a person, just a slightly more idealized
Yeah.
version, then that would have still made sense to me. But like
I
it was
thought-
a
I thought
creepy
H's
looking
avatar was trash.
Oh, that pissed me off
Yeah.
too. I was like,
yeah.
it doesn't even make sense for the character. The
No.
character was
Well, so here's the thing.
The
You
character-
you got all this technology. Why does she disguise her voice not with like I'm just going to speak and it's going to have a different voice? Like it's very clear. Like you could listen to the voice and tell like that's a chick. Like it's a chick disguising her voice. Like you could
You're using vent. What are you doing?
yeah. Like I just no. But yeah.
no, it was
So,
trash.
it
Like
was
I
trash.
got
My favorite thing about the movie was IROC. Honestly, that
Well,
the character IROC.
No,
I mean,
that actually bothered me. The movie couldn't make up its mind. Was it
No.
trying to be funny or was it trying to
I
be
don't
more
know.
serious?
I don't know,
And it
but
was. It didn't
IROC
nail
was the
either
only
one.
thing I enjoyed.
IROC was T.J. Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Alright.
to say I enjoyed it is
Yeah. All right. So
Gracious.
in summary, trash.
Garbage.
I mean, like,
movie,
legitimately the
trash
movie,
movie. And the book was
C.
okay.
maybe a C.
See, I'm going to give it a C minus.
Garbage.
See, 'cause
The movie
here's-
gets a
Here's
hard
the weird
D.
thing about it.
Do
like,
you
I
hate
would,
someone? Make them watch this movie.
Here's
Strap
the-
them to a chair. Make them watch this movie. Why?
Well, no, but that's the
why
thing.
was
But
James?
no, that's the thing. If they haven't read the book, they'll probably like the movie. Like I bet you Anthony would love this movie.
because he doesn't have the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, my problem. Here's my thing, right? So
Why was James Halliday so fucking like too weird? In
Yeah,
the book,
in the book, he
in the
was
book,
just a
he's
dude
just
that was a little-
eccentric.
In the
In
book,
the movie, he's just
actually,
yikes.
yeah, that was another thing that I hadn't mentioned yet. That I was like,
Yeah.
what?
I
the
don't. I did
fuck?
not like that transformation from him just being like an eccentric, kooky guy in the book to being this wholly awkward. Just what
He went
is
from being
this?
Steve Jobs to being a caricature of an autistic guy.
Yeah, see, I didn't wanna say
that's-
that,
Okay,
but-
same. But yeah, like why?
No, it was
why?
a caricature of autism. is
Yeah, it's
how
not.
I-
It's
how I
gross.
read
It was gross. I didn't like it. I did not like it.
And normally that
at
kind of
all.
stuff doesn't like. Normally I'm just like, get over it. Like,
Yeah.
it kind of sucks. It's not
No.
the nicest thing to do, but like that shit,
was
I was just
poorly
like,
done,
what
I
the
thought.
fuck, man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yuck.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
I don't.
God, I had
I
other
want
things
to
to
wipe
say.
this out of my memory.
Yeah.
There's something else that I felt
Derek, you're
really
never
strongly
picking another
about.
book that we read.
This was not my...
Tanya,
Yes, it was.
Tanya picked this book.
I
Yes,
did
Tanya-
not.
This is really
Tanya
all
did.
Tanya's fault.
Horse shit! I'm the unpaid
You were the
intern.
one that
Y'all were
owned
like,
it.
read this, and I
Yeah.
read it.
Yeah.
No, that's not how that
All
worked.
right.
No.
Because I get to pick next, which is why I chose Jade City.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Bob had already picked
Yeah.
before that. This one is yours.
Yeah.
I didn't buy this on purpose. It was an audible
well-
email. They're like, "Hey, get the thing on
Yeah.
sale."
Okay.
Oh, no,
Cool.
it's not my
Tanya's fault. All right.
All Tanya's fault.
It's terrible.
See, this is what we've been saying. This is what happens when you don't let us pick the book.
Yeah.
When
All
you
right.
read shit you pick, things
All right.
go sideways.
As you upload yourself into the oasis of your coming week, I hope that it's better
Than that fucking movie.
than this fucking movie. Better than this book. I hope
Garbage.
it has all the pop culture references you want it to have done well. And may the blessing of the beard be upon you.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Books, Beards, Booze. Our co-hosts are Bob, Derek, and Tanya. Our producer is Bob. For more information, visit our website, booksbeardsbooze.com. Follow our social media at Tales by Bob. If you enjoyed this podcast, please rate, subscribe, and share. Okay, bye.